Now on to one of our other big stories. The King of Pop has died.
Michael Jackson's untimely demise on June 25, 2009, at just 50 years old, sent shockwaves rippling across the globe. The news reverberated through every corner of the world, leaving millions of fans mourning the loss of the iconic King of Pop. However, besides the pity of fans, there were a few rumors surrounding his death, and this video of ours will reveal the whole truth. The truth about Michael Jackson's last moments. Let's get started. Michael's passing came at a critical juncture in his life and career. Prior to his death, Jackson had been on the brink of what was supposed to be a monumental comeback. In March of that same year, he had electrified the world with a high-profile press conference, where he announced his eagerly anticipated This Is It concert residency at London's prestigious O2 Arena. For Jackson, this comeback wasn't merely about reclaiming the spotlight or satisfying his own creative urges. It was a strategic move, driven in part by his mounting financial woes. Despite his unparalleled success as a global superstar, Jackson found himself ensnared in a web of debt, exacerbated by years of legal battles, extravagant spending, and financial mismanagement. This Is It was more than just a series of concerts. It was a statement, a testament to Jackson's enduring talent and his unwavering commitment to his craft. It was a chance for him to silence the critics and skeptics who had maligned him for years, painting him as a bizarre and eccentric figure plagued by scandal and controversy. The announcement of the residency sent waves of excitement and anticipation through his legions of devoted fans, who eagerly snapped up tickets in record time. It was poised to be the musical event of the decade, promising a spectacular showcase of Jackson's unmatched prowess as a performer. But beneath the glitz and glamour of the stage lay a deeper purpose. Jackson saw This Is It as a lifeline, a chance to secure his financial future and regain control over his spiraling finances. The proceeds from the concerts were intended to alleviate his staggering debts and provide a fresh start for the troubled star. Behind the scenes, Jackson poured his heart and soul into crafting new songs and refining his performances. Hours upon hours were spent in rehearsal studios, fine-tuning every dance move, every vocal nuance, every aspect of the spectacle that would soon unfold on stage. For Jackson, this wasn't just about putting on a show. It was about reaffirming his status as the undisputed King of Pop. Yet, as the countdown to opening night grew shorter, cracks began to appear in Jackson's facade. The relentless demands of the production, coupled with the intense scrutiny from both fans and the media, took a toll on the already fragile star. His once boundless energy seemed to wane, replaced by moments of exhaustion and vulnerability. Those closest to Jackson noticed a change in his demeanor. Karen Faye, his longtime makeup artist and confidant, observed firsthand the toll that the grueling schedule was taking on him. In a poignant reflection, Faye recalled a meeting with Jackson in April 2009, where she noted his physical frailty. "Very upbeat, but he was on the thin side," she remarked, highlighting a concern that would later prove tragically prescient. As June rolled around, the atmosphere surrounding Michael Jackson's much-anticipated comeback shifted dramatically. Behind the scenes, those closest to the pop icon began to witness a startling transformation, one that left them reeling with concern and disbelief. Karen Faye, Jackson's longtime makeup artist and confidant, found herself grappling with the stark reality of her friend's deteriorating condition. What had once been a familiar face, brimming with energy and charisma, now seemed like a mere shadow of its former self. "He was not the man I knew," Faye recalled, her voice tinged with sadness and apprehension. "He was acting like a person I didn't recognize." During a pivotal rehearsal in mid-June, Faye was confronted with a Michael Jackson she could scarcely comprehend. Gone was the vibrant performer she had come to know and admire. In his place stood a figure shrouded in fear and uncertainty. Jackson appeared stoic, his demeanor betraying a deep-seated sense of apprehension. "He was very stoic but frightened," Faye recounted, her words echoing with a sense of profound unease. Throughout the rehearsal, Jackson's distress became increasingly palpable. His once mighty voice now trembled with uncertainty as he voiced a haunting refrain. "Why can't I choose?" Faye recalled, her heart heavy with sorrow. It was a question that seemed to reverberate through the cavernous rehearsal space, a poignant reminder of the inner turmoil that plagued the troubled star. As the rehearsal wore on, Faye couldn't shake the gnawing sense of alarm that gripped her. Jackson's physical state mirrored his emotional turmoil, his once athletic frame now reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. "I had never seen him so emaciated," Faye confessed, her voice trembling with emotion. The mysterious and tragic decline of Michael Jackson between April and June of 2009 remains a subject of intense speculation and scrutiny. As the world grappled with the sudden loss of the iconic pop superstar, questions lingered about the events leading up to his untimely demise. Central to this narrative was the role of Dr. Conrad Murray, a figure who would become inextricably linked to Jackson's final days. In May of 2009, AEG Live, the promoter behind the This Is It concert series, enlisted Dr. Murray to serve as Jackson's exclusive personal physician for the upcoming tour. While AEG would later dispute the existence of a formal contract with Murray, his presence within Jackson's inner circle was undeniable. But what exactly was Dr. Murray's role in Jackson's life and career? Ostensibly, his primary responsibility was to ensure that the performer was in peak physical condition for the grueling demands of the tour. As Jackson prepared to embark on what was meant to be a triumphant comeback, Murray's job was to oversee every aspect of the star's health and well-being, from monitoring his vital signs to administering necessary medical treatments. As Michael Jackson embarked on rehearsals for his highly anticipated 50-concert residency, the world was largely unaware of the profound physical and psychological toll that years of chronic pain and medical treatment had taken on the pop icon. Behind the scenes, Jackson grappled with a litany of injuries and health issues that had plagued him for decades, casting a shadow over his preparations for the monumental comeback. For Jackson, the specter of chronic pain was an ever-present companion, stemming from a series of traumatic incidents that had left lasting scars on both his body and psyche. One such incident occurred in 1984, during the filming of a Pepsi commercial, when a pyrotechnic mishap resulted in severe burns to the singer's scalp and face. The injuries, though physically and emotionally devastating, were just the beginning of Jackson's long and arduous battle with pain. Years later, in 1999, tragedy struck once again when a bridge suspended above a stage collapsed during a concert in Munich, Germany, leaving Jackson with a debilitating back injury. The incident not only threatened to derail the tour, but also exacerbated Jackson's existing struggles with chronic pain, further complicating his already fragile physical condition. But it wasn't just physical injuries that plagued Jackson. The psychological toll of his fame and the relentless demands of his career took their own devastating toll. Jackson's well-documented struggles with insomnia and anxiety only added to his mounting distress, leaving him desperate for relief from the relentless pressures of superstardom. To cope with his myriad health issues, Jackson had long relied on a complex cocktail of prescription drugs, a dependency that had only deepened over the years. From powerful painkillers to sedatives and tranquilizers, Jackson's medicine cabinet was stocked with an array of medications designed to numb both his physical and emotional pain. Yet far from providing solace, these drugs only served to further entrap Jackson into a vicious cycle of dependency and despair. As the pressures of the impending tour mounted, Jackson found himself increasingly reliant on these medications to function, further exacerbating his already precarious state of health. Michael Jackson's ongoing struggles with prescription drug dependency were thrust into the spotlight in 2007, shedding light on the dark underbelly of the pop icon's private life. Reports emerged of a Beverly Hills pharmacy filing a complaint against Jackson for unpaid prescription drug bills dating back to 2005, exposing the extent of his reliance on powerful medications to manage his chronic pain and psychological distress. But perhaps the most shocking revelation came from a former staffer at Jackson's home, whose testimony painted a harrowing picture of the singer's nightly routine. According to court documents, Jackson was consuming a staggering 30 to 40 Xanax pills every night, an alarming dosage that underscored the depths of his dependency on prescription drugs. As Jackson threw himself into rehearsals for the This Is It concert series, the toll of his addiction became increasingly apparent. Despite his best efforts to maintain a facade of vitality and energy, the pop icon was plagued by fatigue and insomnia, struggling to find respite from the relentless demands of his schedule. With opening night looming on the horizon, Jackson's desperation for relief reached a fever pitch. Dr. Conrad Murray, the singer's personal physician, found himself under increasing pressure to find a solution to Jackson's debilitating insomnia. In a desperate bid to help the performer sleep, Murray resorted to administering infusions of propofol, a potent anesthetic typically reserved for use in hospital settings. The decision to use propofol outside of its intended medical context would prove to be a fatal mistake. Despite its sedative properties, propofol is not intended for long-term use or as a treatment for insomnia, and its administration outside of a controlled medical environment carries significant risks. The events leading up to Michael Jackson's tragic demise on June 25, 2009, were fraught with tension and uncertainty, as the pop icon's health and well-being continued to deteriorate amidst the relentless pressures of rehearsals for the This Is It concert series. Following a particularly poor rehearsal on June 13, 2009, Jackson's fragile state of health reached a critical juncture. Concerns about the singer's ability to continue with the demanding schedule of rehearsals came to a head when he missed the following day's session, reportedly on the advice of Dr. Conrad Murray, his personal physician. Kenny Ortega, the show director for This Is It, found himself caught in the midst of a delicate balancing act. On one hand, AEG, the promoter behind the concert series, had placed Murray firmly in charge of ensuring Jackson's attendance at rehearsals, a decision that would later come under intense scrutiny. On the other hand, Ortega was acutely aware of Jackson's fragile state of health and the toll that the relentless schedule was taking on the pop icon. When Jackson finally returned to rehearsals on June 19th, it was clear to Ortega that the singer was in no condition to continue. According to Ortega's testimony, Jackson appeared lost, cold, afraid, a far cry from the vibrant performer the world had come to know and love. The show director found himself torn between his professional obligations and his concern for Jackson's well-being, grappling with the difficult decision of whether to halt production altogether. For Ortega, the prospect of halting the production was a deeply agonizing one. On one hand, he recognized the dire implications of allowing Jackson to continue in his current state, risking both the success of the concerts and the health of the performer himself. On the other hand, he was acutely aware of Jackson's emotional investment in the project and the devastating impact that canceling the shows would have on the pop icon. In a series of urgent emails to AEG Live executives, Ortega sounded the alarm, expressing grave concerns about Jackson's mental and emotional well-being. According to Ortega's correspondence, Jackson was exhibiting troubling signs of paranoia, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive behavior, red flags that hinted at a deeper psychological unraveling. As the pressure mounted and rehearsals intensified, Jackson's behavior grew increasingly erratic, leaving those around him deeply concerned for his welfare. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Ortega urged AEG Live executives to take immediate action, recommending that a psychiatrist be brought in to evaluate the star's mental health. It was a desperate plea born out of genuine concern for Jackson's safety and well-being as the show director grappled with the profound implications of the singer's fragile state of mind. Yet despite Ortega's impassioned pleas, the situation continued to escalate. At a pivotal meeting held at Michael Jackson's home on June 20th, tensions reached a boiling point as conflicting perspectives clashed head-on. Dr. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, remained steadfast in his belief that the pop icon was both physically and emotionally capable of shouldering the immense responsibility of performing. In Murray's eyes, he alone was qualified to make such assessments, a stance that placed him squarely at odds with Ortega and other concerned parties. As the debate raged on, it became increasingly clear that Jackson's inner circle was deeply divided, with conflicting opinions about the singer's ability to continue with rehearsals. After nearly a decade-long hiatus from music and performance, Michael Jackson's highly anticipated comeback was not just about reclaiming his status as the king of pop. It was a declaration of resilience, a triumphant return from the brink of adversity. The world watched with bated breath as Jackson prepared to step back into the spotlight, his legacy hanging in the balance. For Jackson, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Following a tumultuous period that saw his legendary career threatened by scandal and controversy, the pop icon faced a daunting uphill battle. The shadow of his highly publicized trial for alleged child molestation loomed large, casting a pall over his once untouchable reputation. But for Jackson, this comeback wasn't just about proving his innocence. It was about reclaiming his throne as the biggest superstar in the world. As rehearsals for the This Is It concert series kicked into high gear, the pressure mounted exponentially. For Jackson, the weight of expectation was crushing as he grappled with the immense responsibility of delivering a performance for the ages. But amidst the chaos and uncertainty, there was a palpable sense of determination, a steely resolve to defy the odds and emerge triumphant. On June 23, 2009, Jackson returned to rehearsals, a transformed man brimming with energy and enthusiasm. Kenny Ortega, the show director for This Is It, was struck by the remarkable change in Jackson's demeanor. "I was overjoyed at his energy, his state of mind, his enthusiasm," Ortega recalled, his words tinged with a sense of awe and admiration. But behind the scenes, a silent battle was raging. Dr. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, had been at the center of a storm of controversy surrounding his use of propofol, a powerful anesthetic that had been administered to Jackson in a bid to alleviate his chronic insomnia. Yet in a surprising turn of events, Murray confessed that he had ceased using propofol to induce sleep for Jackson in the 2 nights leading up to his return to rehearsals. On the evening of June 24, 2009, Michael Jackson embarked on what would be his final rehearsal, a poignant moment that would soon be etched into the annals of music history. Leaving his home around 7 p.m., Jackson made his way to the Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles, where the stage was set for what was meant to be a triumphant return to form. As Jackson took to the stage, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation, a tangible sense of excitement coursing through the air. For many in attendance, the sight of the pop icon running through the show was a testament to his enduring talent and dedication to his craft. Despite the mounting pressure and the weight of expectation, Jackson appeared to be in good spirits, his energy and enthusiasm undimmed by the passage of time. The rehearsals stretched late into the night, culminating in a bittersweet moment as Jackson bid farewell to his dancers and thanked the crew for their hard work and dedication. It was a moment of camaraderie, a brief respite from the relentless grind of rehearsals and preparation. Returning home in the early hours of the morning, Jackson was greeted by a small group of fans who had gathered outside his rented mansion, their adoration a poignant reminder of the profound impact he had on millions of lives around the world. For Jackson, the sold-out shows loomed on the horizon, a beacon of hope in an otherwise tumultuous journey. But as the dawn broke on June 25, 2009, tragedy struck with devastating swiftness. Jackson began complaining of fatigue, his once boundless energy now waning as the weight of exhaustion bore down upon him. Concerned for the pop icon's well-being, Dr. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, sprang into action, his training and expertise guiding his every move. Yet, in a fateful twist of fate, Murray's efforts to alleviate Jackson's discomfort would ultimately prove to be his undoing. Fearing that Jackson was addicted to propofol, a potent anesthetic that had become a source of controversy in the singer's final days, Murray opted to administer Valium in a bid to help him sleep. In the pre-dawn hours of June 25, 2009, as the world slumbered, Michael Jackson's final moments unfolded in the privacy of his own home, a tragic denouement to a life marked by brilliance and sorrow. Throughout the night, Dr. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, remained by the pop icon's side, administering doses of sedatives in a desperate bid to alleviate his exhaustion and ensure a restful sleep. As the night wore on, Jackson's pleas for propofol, a potent anesthetic that had become a source of controversy in the singer's final days, grew more insistent, his desperation palpable. Murray, torn between his duty to his patient and his concerns about the risks associated with the drug, initially resisted Jackson's demands, opting instead to administer alternative sedatives in a bid to soothe his discomfort. Yet, as the morning sun began to cast its golden rays upon the horizon, Murray relented, adding propofol to Jackson's intravenous drip in a moment of fatal acquiescence. It was a decision born out of desperation, a last-ditch attempt to provide relief to a man whose suffering seemed to know no end. According to Murray's own account, he remained with Jackson for a mere 10 minutes before leaving the room to take a phone call, leaving the pop icon alone in his bedroom. It was a decision that would prove to be catastrophic as Jackson slipped into unconsciousness, his once glorious voice silenced by the specter of death. When Murray returned to the room, he was met with a scene of unimaginable horror, a motionless figure lying prone on the bed, the faintest whisper of breath escaping from his lips. Frantically, Murray attempted to resuscitate Jackson, his hands moving with desperate urgency as he fought to revive the fallen star. But despite his best efforts, Jackson remained unresponsive, his body limp and lifeless in the doctor's arms. When paramedics eventually arrived on the scene, they too labored tirelessly to resuscitate the fallen icon, their efforts fueled by a sense of urgency and desperation. Racing against time, Jackson was rushed to UCLA Medical Center, where a team of doctors fought valiantly to save his life. But it was too late. The king of pop had slipped away, leaving behind a world reeling in shock and disbelief. While there exists no definitive record of Jackson's last utterances, the possibilities offer a haunting glimpse into the inner turmoil that plagued the pop icon in his final moments. For some fans, the notion that Jackson may have spoken about his beloved children or his enduring legacy as a musician offers a glimmer of solace, a testament to the profound love and passion that defined his life's work. Others, however, have suggested a far darker narrative, speculating that Jackson may have expressed fear or anxiety about his well-being, harboring paranoid delusions that sinister forces within the industry were conspiring against him. In the fraught hours leading up to his passing, Jackson's distress was palpable, a desperate plea for respite from the relentless demands of his impending comeback. As he struggled to reconcile his mounting exhaustion with the weight of expectation bearing down upon him, Jackson may have confided in Dr. Conrad Murray, expressing his urgent need for rest in order to perform at his best. According to Murray's own account, Jackson's last words were repeated requests for milk, a cryptic reference to propofol, the potent anesthetic that had become a source of controversy in the singer's final days. In Jackson's mind, propofol represented a fleeting respite from the relentless pressures of fame. a fleeting moment of oblivion in a world fraught with uncertainty. The image of Jackson, in a state of delirium, pleading for milk like a helpless infant to his mother, offers a chilling insight into the depths of his despair. In the aftermath of Michael Jackson's tragic passing, the quest for answers took on renewed urgency, as investigators sought to unravel the tangled web of events that had led to the untimely demise of the King of Pop. Central to the investigation was Dr. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, whose actions in the singer's final hours would come under intense scrutiny in the ensuing trial. As Murray took the stand to offer his testimony, the world held its breath, eager for any insight into the events that had unfolded behind closed doors. Murray's account painted a chilling portrait of Jackson's final moments, a desperate plea for respite from the relentless insomnia that had plagued him in the weeks leading up to his death. According to Murray, Jackson's final words were a haunting refrain, a plea for milk, a reference to propofol, the powerful anesthetic that had become a source of controversy in the singer's final days. In Jackson's desperate bid for sleep, propofol had become his only salvation, a fleeting respite from the relentless pressures of fame and fortune. "I can't function if I don't sleep. They'll have to cancel it, and I don't want them to cancel it. But they will have to cancel it," Jackson reportedly lamented, his voice tinged with desperation as he begged for relief from the relentless insomnia that threatened to derail his comeback. But despite Murray's impassioned testimony, the coroner's findings painted a damning picture, one of a man whose life had been cut short by the very drugs he had come to depend on. Jackson's death was formally declared a homicide, a chilling indictment of the actions of those entrusted with his care. In the aftermath of the trial, Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter, and his medical license was revoked as punishment for his role in Jackson's death. Yet despite the verdict, questions lingered. Lingering doubts about the true circumstances surrounding Jackson's passing and the possibility that there may be more to the story than meets the eye. What do you think about Michael Jackson's last days? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.